Okay, so today we're going to look at fringe benefits, which we talked about in class. And fringe benefits are is additional compensation over and above salary that you need to include in your budget because every employee costs you more money than just their paycheck. Two types: government fringes, which include tax, unemployment, Medicare, and also pension, health, and welfare, which goes to union employees. So these are both items that you're going to want to consistently apply to everyone that's employed, and the system allows you to do that automatically with some coding that you start off with. So you want to do this before you actually start the rest of your budget so you don't forget to add it in. So now we're going to go to Movie Magic and look at it. Okay, so you start the process by going to Setup, and you're going to drop down to Fringes. It brings up this nice little chart, and it's blank, so you need to tell it what you're going to do. We're going to establish these fringes by percentage, which means that whatever the person is making, a percentage of that paycheck is going to get added again to their paycheck and paid out of your budget. For instance, we all pay taxes, but the employer pays taxes also to the government on your behalf. So, for instance, we're going to pay payroll tax. You have the name of the benefit plus the description and ID that will allow you to enter it quickly within Movie Magic, what percentage of the paycheck you are adding to the paycheck, and then if there's a cutoff, which we'll discuss in a minute, and that will give you a total. So payroll tax that pretty much everybody gets taken, gets added to their paycheck is federal, state, FICA, Medicare, and unemployment. And we're just going to give this a simple P, and it's about 20% of your paycheck, and there's no cutoff. Another one that would be applicable often is we're going to call payroll plus, because it's going to be your payroll taxes plus pension, health, and welfare. These are, we're going to call that PP, and that would be 35%. Payroll plus is going to be something that you give to everyone working in IATSE, because everyone working in IATSE will get taxes paid on their behalf, and they will get pension, health, and welfare paid on their behalf. Then you want to drop down to the next line because the DGA gets a special pension, health, and welfare. So we're going to call that DP, and we're going to call that 14.5%. And then we also have SAG has their own special pension, health, and welfare, and we're going to call that SAG pension, health, welfare. And we'll call that, we'll call that SP, and that's 14.8. Then the only other thing we have left that we're going to apply right now is something called a loan out, which is when a person is paid as an employee of their own company, in which case they would not have any taxes. But there is a 1% handling fee, so payroll handling fee. So those are all of your fringes that we're going to work with. So and this is how you enter them. You have a cutoff point for DGA and SAG. And the cutoff point for the DGA is 200,000, and the cutoff point for SAG is 232,000. And what this means is that after you have paid $200,000 and pension health and welfare towards the Directors Guild on behalf of whoever's in the DGA, you don't pay anymore. And that's because someone who is making that much money can pay their own pension health and welfare. So you are not going to be paying, so the maximum that would be added to your budget is $200,000. The same thing is true for SAG. The maximum that would be added to your budget would be $232,000. That's probably not a lot of comfort if you are, have a budget of $200,000, but that does help a lot if you're dealing with a budget of, several million. So that is everything you need to know about fringes right now. So we'll come back to this in class, but at least you know for now a little bit more about fringes and how to set them up in your in Movie Magic. And then we're going to hit OK. So next we are also, in addition to setting up fringes, we're going to learn how to set up units. So we go back up to Setup and drop down to Units. And you'll notice that there are a certain amount of units that are already set up as default in the system. So these are what units are when you're renting or you're purchasing something. You need to know how many of something and what that something is. So how many hours are we paying for? How many months are we paying for? How many feet of film if we were shooting film? So we're going to add a few because there are going to be a few things that come up during the course of when we're doing this budget that we'll want these shorthand units in there so that we don't have to type this information out every single time. One of them that we're going to add is contract. And you have to do a singular and plural version because you might be buying more than one of something. We're going to use X for max, and what that stands for is if there is a maximum amount that you want to spend, and after that it theoretically stops. And we're also going to put in a code for what do you call these? Plane tickets. This stands for first class round trip because that is something that would be part of the negotiated contract for anybody above the line. And so you want to have a shorthand in there to identify how many numbers of plane tickets are you purchasing. And the last one that we're going to add is called man days. And we'll explain what man days are later. So you will add these four: C for contract, X for max, P for first class round trip, and N for man day. And then you'll hit OK, and that's all you do. Then it's set up. And that is all you need to know about setting up units and fringes. Okay, ciao.